Hey guys, welcome back to Main Street Living. Now, ladies, many Americans have felt the financial pinch from the pandemic, of course, and for some, it's really meant that they are not sure exactly how to get food for themselves or even their family.
That's right. And Feeding San Diego believes that the answer lies in getting the excess food that's already out there into the hands and mouths of the people who need it. So, here to talk to us about it today, Sam Duke, the volunteer manager from Feeding San Diego. Welcome to Main Street Living, Sam.
Hello, welcome. Thank you for having me. Welcome. Thank you for having me.
So, for those of us who don't know or who are new to the show, how is Feeding San Diego different from a traditional food bank?
Yeah, so we focus on food rescue. We partner with more than 300 retail locations around the county, and we have a decentralized approach that makes us a hunger relief organization that is more than the old school traditional food banking. A lot of our food doesn't come through the warehouse. It stays out in the community where it's being retailed at or sourced. So we don't even bring it in, obviously, to increase miles and pollution on the road. We just keep it where it's needed in the community.
Absolutely. And how great would you say the need is right now?
Yeah, it's really great. In San Diego County, according to the San Diego Hunger Coalition, there's more than 1 million people facing hunger, and that includes 284,000 children.
Wow.
So the need is great.
Wow. So I have to imagine you guys need a lot of volunteers. Do you guys rely on volunteers to get the food out to the community?
We do. Pre-pandemic, we worked with more than 14,000 volunteers annually to help support our distribution efforts. During the pandemic, as you can imagine, that dropped just due to CDC guidelines. But yes, we rely on volunteers in our warehouse sorting food, packing food. We rely on volunteers at our large-scale distributions where we host drive-through distributions, as well as we utilize volunteers across the organization in quite a few skilled-based opportunities. And then we're looking to build a virtual army of volunteers to help us remotely.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And it brings me to my next question. With the pandemic, I know it was hard with fewer volunteers. How were you able to get through that?
Yeah, good question. So we work with a really core group of dedicated volunteers during the pandemic that helped us in our warehouse to pack the food. We also had to improve efficiencies because we had a lot less volunteers and helping hands, but still had the great need was there. So really just rethinking how we pack produce and how we distributed food with quite a few less volunteers.
Well, I have to imagine you guys have a lot of different options for volunteering and maybe even some that people wouldn't think of. So what are some of the skills that people could use and help you guys out?
Yeah, pretty much any skill we will find a use for it. We love the helping hands. Some of the main ones are, of course, a lot of office volunteers that help with data entry, aggregating data, research. We even have volunteers that would help our board of directors, broadcasting and marketing. Anyone who has a background in communications can help us. We're always looking for finance support, any background and any business or any skills you have. We could definitely put to use, and we really rely, again, as you know, volunteers to help us increase our capacity to get more food out and end hunger quicker. So I'm obviously the volunteer program manager, but really proud and really just want to bring in volunteers beyond those who want to handle produce. There's just so many other ways to get involved. So
I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because when you think volunteers at a food bank, that's what you think of: people moving boxes around, delivering food, and that type of thing. But you're really looking for just about anybody. And how many volunteers would you say you work with?
Well, right now, again, just because of the pandemic, we're about over 1,000. But for these more specialized roles, again, because of the pandemic, we're probably at about 20, which is pretty good. But again, now that we're open back up and we have the opportunity to work with more individuals safely, we are just, definitely looking to expand to any capacity that anybody wants to help us. We would appreciate. So.
Something that I love to talk about when we bring you guys on too is how the face of hunger has kind of changed after the pandemic, and you guys do a really good job of reminding people it's okay to ask for help. So how has that changed, and how have people increased? Really, the need has increased.
Yeah, that's a good question. And that's something I like to talk about is that we just, you doesn't really have a face anymore. It's our friends, our family, our coworkers, our neighbors. We support so many different populations, like indigenous populations, military, seniors, kids, families, disabled. If anyone is in need, we're here to help support them, not only with the food, but we also support CalFresh Assistance, so those federal food program.
All right. And how can our viewers get involved if they want to help? And can they help from afar too if they're not in San Diego?
Yeah, they definitely can help from afar. Of course, going to our website, feedingsandiego.org. Under the Get Involved section is where I live as a volunteer department. But on there it has all of our current available skill-based positions, but we recommend anyone going there to just share their skills or getting in touch with me. And as I said, remote, you can help us with research, you can help us with editing, grants from anywhere in the country or the world. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's something that every community faces for sure. So thank you so much for joining us again. Always good to see you guys.
Yeah, thank you for having us and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right. Coming up on Main Street Living, do you know if your aloe vera is the real thing? Trust me, you're going to be surprised when you hear what we have to say. We will explain that next.